Welcome to Impact Duty. I'm your host, Manisha Dadlani Kripalani, bringing you empowering stories of friends and people I admire. Their voices have given me joy and the momentum to share their stories with you. Strong and suave, Shaan Khanna is a people's person with immense tact and overflowing confidence. Having been in the events industry for over a decade and an entrepreneur since the age of 15, she has an unmatched perspective on the industry as a whole and strives to create that safe and supportive community through her Networking Now initiative. With feathers like Spicy Sangria, Bombay Fusion Food Festival, and Networking Now India in her cap, she is the flag bearer of the thought that dedication, passion, and hard work is what it takes to build oneself up from scratch and continue to achieve bigger successes along the way. Hi, Shaan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All well. Welcome to Impact Duty. I've been rather excited to speak to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to do this.
So, as you know, I discovered a video of yours on Instagram that actually hit a nerve. It was a video on ghosting and one of the no-nos in networking. And that had me reaching out to you. So you've been entrepreneurial since the very young age. I believe 15 is when you started with your first venture. So I'm going to go diving right in to ask you how your journey began and what got you so confident at such a young age.
So, firstly, thank you for having me. Very excited to do this. I think for me, when I started when I was young, I've always seen my mom working. Both my parents have been working when I was in school, of course. And, I would come home and when my mom loves shopping, so she would take me to the store and I'd be like, I want this bag or I want this handbag or I want this, and at those days, even like 3,000, 4,000 was like, okay, why am I spending this? So she would say, you know what, let's make it. And that's when I kind of got into this concept. She called the tailor home. I had some designs in mind. I made a collection. I started carrying them out. So instead of always buying, I was carrying what I made. And I went to a shop and I went to a store and the store person was like, hey, where did you get this? And I was like, I made it. And she was like, oh, why don't you supply to me? And that's really where it all began. And I started making pocket money. Little did I know I was kind of only breaking even and at some point making a loss. But it was nice because I think that taught me a lot. That taught me a lot about business firsthand. When I was in college, I did about 8 or 9 internships. So I think I started and learned at a very young age, which brought me to learn early. And bring me to where I am. But the journey started as a handbag designer. Then I joined my mom into events. I used to assist her on all the events that she did, which was really fun. So I think now when I say I can do my events in my sleep, it's because I started much earlier than normal.
Totally. And if I'm not mistaken, you started when you were 15.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Were you always a confident girl? Were you always a confident woman?
For me, I think just speaking, like I love talking to people. I love hearing people's stories. I love knowing what people are up to. I think for me, that's the thing my parents I was one of those kids where my parents took me everywhere. So I was never really like only with the children or only left at home. Very, very open home. We were always out and about. So I was always hearing other people's stories, talking and chatting to people of different ages. So I think that's what instilled this confidence in me. And I was always like a jabberbox and a chatterbox since I was young. I would say in business, my confidence has come now. I would say till now I was learning.
Right. And you mentioned doing a couple of internships at a ripe young age. How did that generate learning for you? And how's that different from a lot of young people pretty much in the Indian scenario? Is that something usual to do internships or is that special to you?
Actually, I was in BMM. After school, I did mass media, and my batch in mass media is just awesome. We're all still great friends. And every one of them was doing something or the other, an internship, working somewhere, learning, doing a class. I think we all just had it in us. Like we all just wanted to be. We never wanted to just sit idle. We were always doing something or the other. So I think also today in India, opportunities are endless. I don't think anyone's really sitting at home. I think there's an internship job opportunity for any and everyone at every age. So I don't think it's just me. I just think it's me because I absolutely loved events. So
Right.
that looks like I was more of an involved and, that kind of person. But I think that the Indian scenario is such that today people are working two jobs at once. Everyone has a side
Mm,
hustle. Everyone,
mm,
everyone's doing two internships at a time. Everyone's exploring what they can. Lots of people have the entrepreneurial spirit, which is lovely because nobody's
mhm.
shying away from trying something new and shying away from failure. So it's nice.
Wonderful. And we've seen a buzz created and continuing to grow, both with Networking India now and with Spicy Sangria. Okay, so these are both very interactive and social entities that you've co-founded. Tell us more about both of them and what, stemmed from where.
Okay, so Spicy Sangria is something my mom and I started. We're co-founders. I learned this from her. The love for giving a platform to people that are homegrown brands, people that don't have that space to market and showcase their products. A one-day trade show is what it's like. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of not very high-end shopping,
Right.
but good quality, great stuff. Networking now is something I started 5 years ago for the love of connecting people. I realized that it used to bother me so much when people never connected others or shared referrals or shared references or shared numbers. I'm like, why are you hiding your contact list? Like, what is
Hmm.
happening if you're not giving me the contact? Are you getting to know that person better? Are you getting better work than me? What is going on? So I think
Right.
that's why I wanted to start a positive networking community. And
Hmm.
that's really where it all began. I married both my favorite things, which was events, knowledge of events, homegrown brands, partners, Indian entrepreneurs, people that are homegrown here, and of
Hmm.
course, networking. So I think everyone used to look at networking very negatively. And
Hmm.
I'm all about making it about positive networking and believing in the idea that by helping somebody else, you just move forward, you don't move backward.
Brilliant. Brilliant, Shan. But we've just emerged from the pandemic in some way, and the pandemic might have put a spanner in your wheel because, as mentioned, both your entities are rather social and interactive. How did you emerge a success from that? And what were some of your key learnings from this last period that
So,
we've just come out of?
great question because I feel like I learned the most during the pandemic. I know many people say this, but for me, it was a real point of change, a real point where I pivoted, a real point where I had time to sit and think about what I'm building here. The second
Right.
thing is, just like you're doing, I ran interviews every single day during the pandemic. Every day, 3 p.m., I
Mm,
was live on Instagram. The whole world was live on Instagram, but I was live on Instagram, interviewing people. I truly believe in one concept that you learn from everybody. You don't have
hmm.
to learn from somebody who's an industry expert, somebody just because they're famous, somebody just because they have 500 million followers. You learn from any and everybody. I can learn from my employees, I can learn from my colleagues, I can learn from my family, I can learn
Right.
from my neighbor. So I was going up on my terrace every evening having chats, everyone talking about different topics. And that's the reason I started my chat show on
Aha.
Instagram, which had me asking entrepreneurs how to navigate the pandemic, how to scale your business,
Mm,
how to grow on social media, how to avoid making mistakes or learning from others' mistakes. So I think for
right.
me, the how to question is a great one for entrepreneurs. Ask
Hmm.
many questions. And I think
Hmm.
that's something that made me pivot a lot in the pandemic because the way we came back post the COVID period was extremely different to where I was before we went into the pandemic.
Right.
And
Hmm.
I know it's a lot of people went through a very tough time during COVID. I myself lost my grandmother towards the end of COVID, and it was heartbreaking. But I feel that time taught everyone something in life. That
Hmm.
time taught
Hmm.
everybody something. And for me, if I can specifically say about business and work, it taught me so much. I pivoted,
Wow.
I changed, the community changed, the
Mhm.
interaction changed. So yeah, we came out strong.
Wow. Thank you, Shan. And like you mentioned, everybody was on Instagram. Everybody was doing Instagram lives. I mean, social media went to different heights altogether. What keeps you relevant within your field? And how have you used social media um, to emerge, as I said, quite the success?
Honestly, social media is a fabulous place for brands, for entrepreneurs, for business. It's an overly cluttered place, but that is something you can use to grow overnight. That is something you can
Mm,
grow to, you grow consistently. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of sharing knowledge. I'm a fan of learning from other people's Instagram. I'm a fan of just watching what's going on. For
Right.
me in particular, I think it was very important, and this is something the pandemic taught me, was to grow my community on social media, because we are a community-based platform. I wanted to grow the community. It's been great. I've connected with people from all over the world, including you. I've connected with people, just living in my next building, who are like, "Hey, I saw you here. Want to meet up for coffee? I'd love to pick your brain." Or,
Mm-hmm.
it's been wonderful. If you use
Right.
social media the right way, it's wonderful. So
Right.
it's a big yes from me. And people, the opportunities, like I said, are endless today with the world of social media, Instagram, connecting with others. You can start any business in any field, anywhere. You can be sitting at
Right.
home in another
Mm-hmm.
country and selling to India. So, hey, why not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And taking each entity now, how has the networking scene changed? So how have you seen the change for you in the last 5 years for networking now? And how has it also changed for Spicy Sangria? What's changed on the scenario?
A
What
lot,
scenarios?
a lot.
Hmm.
So when I started networking, I was the sole player. There were just one, two really big players in the market, but I was the sole small business player, right? Today there
Right.
are very many. There's a large amount of competition. Also, entrepreneurs today are. When I started out, people were like, what are you starting? What's going on? But today the awareness is more. People are more receptive to it. People are open to networking. They're open to saying, "Hey, I'm going to network." First, it was like, "I'm at a
Mm,
friend's party. There's some friends. Let me meet up. Let me meet new people." Today, it's like dedicated time per week to networking, building your
right.
business. People have understood the idea of having a work tribe, work friends, colleagues that you can network with, old job. People have that. They're building their network. 5 years ago, nobody was saying these things so
Right.
openly. With Spicy Sangria, the change has been massive. The competition and the players are huge. There are so
Right.
many
Hmm.
brands are so many. They've like quadrupled. I think
Exactly.
in corner every building there are 5 people doing something new. So
Hmm.
but change is good, change is great, and I feel like that's brought a community of people together. It's brought a community of designers. It's brought a community of people working from home, entrepreneurs. It's given the opportunity to people at any age to do what they like. I meet people who are 14 and 15 venturing and starting something new. I meet someone who's 70 who's starting a new business, and I love it.
Mm. Hmm. So you don't believe that social media in general is saturated? Is there room for more players? And what advice would you give to people who are entering the social media presence? In terms of small companies, in terms of new brands, as you said, there's just so many coming up. What would be a piece of advice that you would give them?
So specifically for social media, I'd say do it, do it, do it. Don't shy away from being on social media. It's a game changer, especially for
Right.
your business. It's a game changer for discovery, for learning, for knowledge, for discovering new brands, new places, new people, for people to discover you. Why not? It's a free platform.
Mm-hmm.
Use it wisely. Use it wisely would be my second point of advice. Um,
Mm.
you know, Many people just use it, misuse it, don't use it right, and then they have complaints. So I would say learn, do a course. There's so many free courses available online, but create your brand persona across social, because uh, it really brings your brand to life. You can connect with
Right.
so many more people than you can imagine. Again,
Mm.
also don't just base your business on social media numbers, and don't concentrate on going viral. I think that's something that people just want to have like a million followers and they'll advertise and
Mm-hmm.
advertise and advertise. Don't only think of it that way. Create a strategy, create a brand, create a human form behind the brand. And that's what
Mm.
I works for social media, the emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. And taking us to myths, busting myths, and giving us tips. All right, so let's take a look at a myth that you want to bust in terms of networking. Something that's a fallacy, something that, if you believe people have a concept on networking that's this or that, and you want to say, okay, let's bust this myth. So go ahead, Shaan, I'm throwing it at you. Let's bust a myth on networking.
There are so many. Firstly, I can't think of this one, but I think the biggest one for me would be, um, networking is easy. I think a lot of people think
Mm,
that it's just a child's play and, it can be done overnight. And by going for one event, you're sorted with your network. Absolutely not. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot
right.
of following up. It takes a lot of, it's building a relationship. People forget that word. It's building a connection and building a relationship. And don't
Mm,
forget that, because just by attending one event and taking business cards is not networking.
right. Oh, wow. Good one. Good one, Shaan. And three tips for us on networking.
Uh, so firstly, think of it in your mind as positivity. So positive networking. Don't think of it that you're going in to only gain contacts, give as well. Learn to
Mm-hmm.
share your contacts, because that's when it'll be a give and take.
Mm-hmm.
The next tip would be research before attending events, right? Like, don't just jump into events because you think they work, or they're popular on social media, or your friends go for them, or one person recommends it. Do your research. And
Right.
three, make this investment for yourself. So, make your points, make a list. People forget to do this. Who are the people you want to connect with? Why do you want to connect with them? Where is it that you need help? And don't shy away from asking.
Mm, good one. Good one. Yeah. And mentoring. What's your take on mentoring? How important is it to have mentors in whichever field we're in, and also looking at motivation and inspiration. But first, let's look at mentoring, okay, and your take on that and how you feel mentoring is important or maybe not important.
Extremely important. It's something that changed the game for me. I
Aha,
had a mentor. I have mentors. I currently have a coach as well. Um, it's life changing. Do it, because
aha,
very often people shy away from asking friends and family for help. Mentors are very important. Number one, like, get yourself a mentor, get yourself a coach. It changed my life. It changed
really?
the game for me. And very often
Aha,
you tend to, it's just human form, that you tend to listen to people that you don't know. You'll tend to people listen to people that you've probably paid for. You tend to listen to people that you look up to. So
right.
get yourself a mentor. Do yourself a
Wow, wow. And who have been some of your mentors, if you'd like to share one or two with us?
So close to home, it's my mom. I say this
Mm-hmm.
far and wide. I've learned everything I know from her. Today
Right,
I can do my events in my sleep thanks to her. On the event, at the event, learning small like recovering from small mistakes, changes, etc. I've learned everything on ground from her. No doubt, she
right.
would be number one. I get this zest for work and zest for life from her. So
Right.
definitely. In terms of people that I look up to, I would say every mentor that I've had today has taught me something I needed to know. So every step
Hmm.
of my business has had a mentor, and I've only been able to reach that next step thanks to the mentor of that time. So I'm
Wow.
grateful for them all. I'm grateful for all my friends who even listen to me and give me advice.
Hmm.
They're mentors in a certain way as well.
Yeah. And Shaan, how do you stay inspired and motivated? I mean, because it's heavy stuff. You're flying around the world. I believe you just came back from Bangalore,
Yeah.
from an event right now.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of energy. All right. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay inspired?
I don't know. I just love what I do. And if you wake, I know it sounds so cliched, but if you love what you do and you love what you're building and you love that you want to see the end goal and you want to see where this is taking you, you will wake up every day inspired and motivated. And truly, I do. I watch a lot of
Uh-huh.
Oprah Winfrey videos and I'm just obsessed with her.
Wow. Me
I will meet
too.
her
Love her.
someday. Love her. I will meet her someday. And I think her zest for life at every age and every stage and every being is what I really relate with.
All right. Wonderful. And we know networking now and Spicy Sangria are big in India. All right. But how do you wish to extend it to the global scenario? Both of them. How do you wish to take this forward so that it reaches us over here in Europe or, other parts of the world?
Soon, soon. Those are my plans for the next 5 years. I would love to see a networking meet happening in different parts of the world. I would love to see it happening while I'm sitting here. So that's
Hmm.
the plan to scale it. In terms of Spicy Sangria, we are going all over. So hoping to be in Zurich soon, hopefully showcasing our designers, New York, London. So the plan is there, but it's slowly and surely happening. I think also the demand is there. People have reached
Mm.
out to us. So hoping to marry the two and be there soon.
I can tell you that for sure, Shaan. The demand is there, because as mentioned, we have a huge diaspora that of Indians outside India. So I do believe there is a need and a niche for you. And going down to goals and plans for the future, personally and professionally, what's next on the cards for Shaan?
Personally, I want to start taking more time off. I want to spend some more time traveling. That's number one.
Hmm.
That was my goal for 2023, and I'm definitely going to take that into action. Number two, professionally, I just want to be truly making a difference in whoever's life that I meet. So with networking now, be it somebody with a small business who I've taken to the next level, or help them reach somewhere where they hadn't. And with
Uh-huh.
Spicy Sangria, reach more places and reach more people, not in Mumbai, maybe outside
Uh-huh.
of Mumbai, and that would be the goal.
Wonderful. And before I say goodbye to you, Shaan, if you'd like to share one anecdote of um, one kind of brand that you saw taking networking to another level and emerging, to create a presence in India.
Sorry, you want me to share I didn't hear the
An
word.
anecdote, a story that of one of your success stories.
I think it's in the small things. Truly, I can't. If somebody asked me this question just the other day in Bangalore, what was that one thing where you were like, I'm making a difference? And I'm like, for me, it's when people stop me at the airport and are like, hey, aren't you the networking now girl? We got so much business from you. Or aren't you the person that helps people network positively? Or hey, I heard your interview here and what you said really made a difference to me. And that
Hmm.
for me is goals, because I think if you're making a difference in people's life and making them take the next step because of what you're saying or doing, that's a winner. And I would just love people to tell me that they networked thanks to me, but in a positive manner. That would be the end goal.
Wonderful, Shaan. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today. A
Thank
real
you
honor and
so much.
pleasure. So I'm wishing you all the very, very best.
Thank you.
And I hope we actually get to meet in person.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Take care, Shaan.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.